הכל כשרים לקרוא את המגילה. Everybody is kosher to read the Megillah. First of all, what do you mean to read the Megillah? Of course, it doesn't mean just to read, it means more than read. What does it mean? Not just to read, להוציא אחרים ידי חובתם. To make sure that when they read it, other people do their obligation. Except. So everybody is except. Except whom? We're going to talk about three people first. Cheresh, a deaf person. We're going to see if he's really deaf. Shoteh, a fool. Vekatan, and a small child. Now, just by the way, Cheresh, usually when you say Cheresh in the Torah, you mean deaf and dumb. He cannot hear, nor he can speak. Over here, obviously, it cannot be. Because you're talking about...
He can hear only.
Because he yeah, that's right.
But he doesn't say lame.
That's right. So that's what I'm saying. Usually, when it says the word Cheresh in the Torah, it means deaf and dumb. Over here, it cannot mean dumb, because if he's dumb, the Mishnah cannot talk about him, because it says that everybody is kosher to read the Megillah. So obviously, he can read the Megillah, but he cannot hear. He cannot hear himself. That's the Cheresh. So this Cheresh is different than all other Chereshim you usually have. When he says Cheresh, the word Cheresh, usually it means both. Over here, it just means deaf, the way we use it. Okay? סתם חירש האמור בכל מקום, whenever it says חירש, deaf, anywhere in the Torah, or anywhere in the Mishnah, שאינו שומע ולא מדבר. It means, usually when you hear the word חירש, he's deaf and dumb. By the way, in the old time, if you were deaf, you were dumb. There was no sign language, that's it. Yeah? אבל חירש האמור כאן, היינו המדבר ואינו שומע. But the Cheresh we're talking about over here, he can speak, but he doesn't hear. Usually it happens because of an accident, for example. Somebody, his ears blow up or whatever. Yeah, you should know. Yeah. שהרי מדובר בקורא את המגילה, because we're talking about reading the Megillah. ומכל מקום שווה דינו לשוטה וקטן. Nevertheless, even though he can speak, we're going to put him together with the idiot and the katan. I don't know a better word for the idiot. For a full... Mentally defective and a katan. And a small person.
Mentally defective is...
Shoteh is not mentally defective.
It's not?
Shoteh is mentally defective?
Shoteh means somebody...
Fool.
Yeah, but no.
Shoteh is not tipesh.
No, it's more. I'll tell you why. Shoteh is to the level that if he makes a business deal, it doesn't happen. For example, if a shoteh makes a business deal, I'll give you $5 for this, you can always go back. Says to the guy, give me the money back. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Crazy?
Yeah, crazy. Somebody he is not capable of taking care of himself. You know that his mind, mishuga, yeah.
Mishuga, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it can also be somebody who doesn't...
Shoteh is a fool.
Yeah. Or it can also be somebody with a low intelligence to such a degree that like a small guy, like a small kid.
Does it also mean drunk?
What?
Shoteh is drunk?
No, that's with a tough. Yeah. לשוטה וקטן, שאינו מוציא את האחרים ידי חובתם. He doesn't, what's the word? The other people cannot do their obligation through him. שמשנתנו כדעת רבי יוסי, our Mishnah is according to Rabbi Yossi, שאמר בעניין קריאת שמע, that Rabbi Yossi said when it comes to קריאת שמע, הקורא ולא השמיע לאוזנו לא יצא. There's an idea that if a person read the Shema and he did not hear it, he did not do the obligation. Other people say that if you read the Shema and you didn't hear it, you just moved your lips, you did do your obligation. Right? So Rabbi Yossi says not. So according to the person who says the Shema without hearing the words did his obligation, according to that Tana, he would disagree with this Mishnah. He would say a Cheresh that can speak is doing the obligation. וכיוון שחירש זה עצמו אינו יוצא בקריאתו, and since this Cheresh since he doesn't hear his own words, he's not doing his obligation, he cannot make other people go out of their obligation. This is the Gemara. ועיין תוספות ים טוב בעניין אוקימתא אחרת שבגמרא, ברם אין הלכה כרבי יוסי, אלא כרבי יהודה הסובר, but the halacha is not like רבי יהודה, like רבי יוסי, it is like רבי יהודה, הסובר שם שבדיעבד יצא. That he holds over there that בדיעבד יצא, that if a person read the Megillah, or forget the Megillah, the Shema, and he should hear it in his ears. But if he didn't hear it, it's okay. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, maybe you can take it over here, he shouldn't read the Megillah. But if he read the Megillah, the people did their obligation. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Because it's talking about Shema over there. I'm not sure about how he holds in the Megillah. But just taking it over to here. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda machshir bekatan. And we're going to see Rabbi Yehuda over here in our case, we finished with the Shema. Rabbi Yehuda, coming back to our case, to our Me'ezer, he says a katan that reads the Megillah, that can make other people do their obligation. Below 13. Hainu, which katan we're talking about? Shegia lechinuch mitzvot. We're talking about a katan that at least has an obligation for his parents to teach him. Not any katan. There's an age where the father has an obligation to teach his son. Before that age, even though the katan can read, he didn't do the obligation. And let's see why. And nevertheless, the Tanakama holds, the first person who wrote over here the thing, not Rabbi Yehuda, he says, who pasul lekriat Megillah. That is not pasul lekriat Megillah. Now, why is it? Just simple thinking, the whole reading of the Megillah is from the rabbis. The rabbis also institute when you have the obligation to teach your children. So according to this, from the time that the rabbis instituted, when the rabbi's institution comes in, that's when he can do the obligation for rabbi's institution. And since the rabbi's institution for Megillah is rabbis, institution of the rabbis of chinuch, of education, is let's say 8 or 9 years old, so from that time it kicks in, according to him. The Tanakama disagrees. He says, even though the obligation it is from the rabbis, over here I'm going to make him do it from Din Torah. Why? I don't know, but that's in the Gemara. We can work it out. Okay? Ayen Tamam betosfos Megillah. It says, it's not even in the Gemara. Even the Gemara doesn't talk about it. Tosfos is going. If you want to look at the reason, look at it in Tosfos. Umuvoa gam betosfos Yom Tov. It brought also in Tosfos Yom Tov. Ayen Tosfos Rabbi Akiva b'Masechet Arachin. Okay. Over there, what did they say? Maybe it's going to explain to us over here. Let's see. Amru. They says, Hakol ksherim likrot Megillah. Over there's a brisa that they said, everybody is kosher to read the Megillah. Lerabot nashim. Why does it say it? Hakol ksherim, you can say, these ones cannot say it. It says, why do you say everybody can do it? It says it comes to teach you that a woman can also read the Megillah. She's also in the obligation. V'kedivrei Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi she'amar. How do we know? Because they have an obligation to hear the Megillah. If they have an obligation to hear the Megillah, it's the rabbis. Nothing to do with the Torah over here. They have an obligation from the rabbi to hear, so they can now, if they say that out loud, they can make other people do the obligation. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, Nashim chayavot b'mikra Megillah. It says that women are obligated in reading the Megillah. Why? She'af hem hayu b'oto hanes. Because they also participated in that miracle, as we know the famous story over there. ומפרש רש"י, שכשרות הן לקרותה ולהוציא זכרים. And Rashi says that they are kosher to read it, and then males can do their obligation through hearing it from a woman. אבל בעל הלכות גדולות פוסק, but the בעל הלכות גדולות over there, this is what Rashi explains the Gemara and the Mishnah. Rashi is on a posek. He doesn't tell us what to do. When it comes to the posek, he says, שהן חייבות, it says it's true that they are obligated, אבל אינם מוציאים את הרבים ידי חובתם. But coming to halacha, even though they're obligated, they're not going to make, the males are not going to be able to hear the Megillah from a woman and do their obligation. Next. אין קוראים את המגילה ביום. He says, you don't read the Megillah. He's talking about the reading of the Megillah in the day. You know, we have to read the Megillah both day and night. So over here he's talking about reading the Megillah of the day. שכן מצוות לקרוא את המגילה בלילה ולשנותה ביום. It's a commandment to read the Megillah twice, once at night, and then again during the day. ולא מלין ביום השמיני, and you don't do the circumcision in the 8th day, ולא טובלים, and you don't go to the mikveh. What kind of going to the mikveh? היינו הטמאים מצריכים טבילה ביום. We're talking about people who are defiled and they need to go to the mikveh in order to eat truma, for example. ולא מזין מעפר פרה על מי שנטמא בטומאת מת, and you don't sprinkle the red heifer on somebody that became impure to death. שטעון הזעה ביום השלישי וביום השביעי, all these things has to be done during the day, the 3rd or the 7th. וכן שומרת יום כנגד יום. And also another thing is a woman who guards one day against one day. Just let me explain this quickly. The nature of the women in the old times, in the Gemara, it changed, by the way. In the days of the Rambam, it was still, some women were like this. Today, I don't think there are any women who are like this, but women used to have their cycle once a month, and it usually was according to the moon, on the same phase of the moon. They would get it, and exactly the same phase, so she can count. If it was the 28th day of the month, for the rest of the life, she used to get the 28th of the month. Of course, after she has a child, it will change. But if that was her cycle, that was the moon caused it, and not only that, it was hours, which means she would, let's say, get it at 2 o'clock in the morning, the cycle, or let's say 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By 5 o'clock, she could clean herself, and there was no more blood. The whole cycle, what usually today, 3 or 4 days, that women see blood, it was within 2 or 3 hours. So the way women used to do it in that time, she would used to get a cycle. If she got a cycle on a Monday, on a Tuesday she would go to the mikveh, the next Tuesday, and on a Wednesday she could be with her husband again. That was the way. That's the way it was in the time of the Gemara and the time of the Mishnah. Now, what happened? And it was in a case that some women saw for 2 days. So let's say she saw it in 11 o'clock at night on a Monday, 11 o'clock at night, and not 11 o'clock at night, so just before sunrise, she saw it. So again, just before sunset, she saw it on a Monday, so that's a Monday, and it went 3 hours into a Tuesday, so now it was 2 days that you have to count. You have to count Monday and Tuesday. So then she waits 2 days afterwards, Thursday and Friday, Wednesday and Thursday, she waits after that. She goes to the mikveh 2 days, and then she goes with her husband. So in other words, there was not this 5 and 7 that we do today at all. It didn't exist. When did it exist? In a case called ziva. What is ziva? When a woman menstruated more than 3 days. It was considered to be a disease at that time. Today, every time a woman has blood, we consider this disease. Even if she would have it for 1 day, we're going to count 5 and 7. Yeah? Why? Because every woman in our days and age is considered ziva. So we always count 5 and 7. So over here he's talking about in the days of the Mishnah. In the days of the Mishnah, it's 1 against 1. So she needs to go to just like us, but she doesn't need to wait 12 days. She needs to wait 1 day. שומרת יום כנגד יום, אישה רואה דם לאחר 7 ימי נידתה, בתוך 11 יום שבין סוף הנידה שעברה לתחילת הנידה הבאה. There's also rules, because the women, once they received, according to the Ram, it's very strange the way, once we get to the Mishnah in the Ram, you're going to see, it's very strange the way you do it. There's the beginning of a period, then you count 11 days, then you count 7 days, and there's different rules. If she saw again blood during the 11, it's a whole balagan over there. We're going to get to it when we get to it.
Who are we talking about here? It says they do not read the Megillah, and it talks about and do not circumcise on the 8th day, and don't go to the mikveh.
Wait and ask your question as soon after. צריכה לשמור יום אחד בטהרה כנגד יום הטומאה. She needs to wait one day in purity against the day of impurity. היינו שהיא טובלת למחרת היום הטמא, she goes to the mikveh in the next day, ואם אינה רואה בו דם, and then if she doesn't see that, הרי היא טהורה לערב, she becomes pure on that night already. Okay? לא תטבול למחרת היום הטמא עד שתנצח חמה. She is not allowed to go to the mikveh until when? Until the sun comes up. כלומר, כל אלו שנשנו לעיל, here's the answer to your question, all these examples that we mentioned right now, אין עושים מצוותם, the mitzvah to do all these things, אלא שמתחילת החמה לנצנץ בראשי ההרים. In other words, you want to read the Megillah, you want to do all this other stuff, that's why you bring it. If it's the Megillah of the night, when is it? If it's the Megillah of the day, when did you do the obligation? So let's say you read the Megillah today, 6 o'clock in the morning. So it tells you didn't do your obligation. Because 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun did not rise yet. You cannot see the sun. When did your obligation? After Netzach Hama. After the sun went out. So that's why he brings all those examples. And all these examples are the same. When did you do, if it's the mitzvah of the day, you have to do it between this time and that time. That's why we...
Because the Netzach Hama is not a day. It's considered, no?
Now, Netzach Hama is the beginning of the day.
Yeah, when the Netzach Hama starts, it's the day. But before...
Before it's on the day. Very, very good. לנצנץ בראשי הערים. וכולן שעשו מצוותם משאלה עמוד השחר. And here's another thing. So it says you have to wait until you see the sun. If you didn't see the sun, your problem.
So,
Wait. Just actually 1 second. But it says that's only lechatchila. That's the best way to do it. But if you actually did it at 6 o'clock in the morning, and 6 o'clock in the morning was already Amud HaShachar, what is Amud HaShachar? Amud HaShachar means it's starting to be light, even though you don't see the sun. But you shouldn't do it, but we're going to count it b'di'evad as you did your obligation. Now you can ask a question.
so back to the bris and immersion and stuff. When you're counting days, then if the 8th day starts the night before, you're not going to do the bris until the next morning.
That's right. And if you do it at 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe you didn't do a bris. You have to wait until you see the sun.
The way is like feeling, no?
Yeah, exactly. Like all those commandments are the same thing. Yeah, that's exactly what he brings it. Kasher b'diavad. So if you, even before you can see the sun, as long as it is starting already to change into light, you shouldn't do it, but if you did it, it's okay. שמשעלה עמוד השחר כבר נחשב יום, because when the עמוד השחר went up, it's already going to consider to be day. ולא אמרו החכמים עד שתנצח חמה, so why did the sages say until you can see the sun? אלא כדי לצאת מספק לילה, to make sure that I know for sure it's not night anymore. Yeah? Because what happens, sometimes the moon comes up early in the morning, from the same time, from the same side of the sun. And you're seeing the light of the moon. And you're thinking, oh, this is the sun. That's why they said it. It becomes a little bit lighter because the moon is rising, right? And you're thinking, oh, it's because of the sun. So they say, no. Until you see it, wait. If you do it, it's okay. So this is the reason why they say until you see the sun. לפי שאין הכל בקיאים מתי מתחיל לעלות עמוד השחר. Because not everybody is aware when it's the beginning of עלות השחר. They say, wait until החמה. Okay. Up to here.